Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan, coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi chairs 10th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog in New Delhi, says no goal impossible if centre and states work together. India slams Pakistan at the UNSA, says it has experienced decades of Islamabad-sponsored terror attacks, also slams Pakistan's disinformation on the Indus Water Treaty. India's global outreach against terrorism continues. Delegations in UAE and Japan convey India's strong anti-terror message. And India's squad for England tour announced Shubman Gill to be the test captain. Pant announced his deputy. Doordarshan, Karun Nair named in 18-member squad. In line with his commitment to take all the states together as Team India for a Viksit Bharat, Prime Minister Modi chaired the 10th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog in New Delhi. PM Modi underscored that Viksit Bharat is the goal of every Indian, noting that when every state is Viksit, then Bharat will be Viksit. Further, he added that if the Union government and states work together like Team India, no goal is impossible. The Prime Minister said that India is getting rapidly urbanized, adding that we should work towards future-ready cities. He stressed that growth, innovation and sustainability should be the engine for the development of Indian cities. PM Modi called for women's inclusion in the workforce, highlighting the need for laws and policies that promote respectful integration. This year's theme is Viksit Rajya for Viksit Bharat at 2047, aiming to drive states to craft bold, long-term and inclusive vision documents aligned with national priorities and time-bound targets. Now, India called out Pakistan's grossly hypocritical behavior at the UN Security Council, saying a nation that makes no distinction between terrorists and civilians has no credentials to speak about protecting the civilians. New Delhi highlighted that the Pakistani army deliberately shelled Indian border villages earlier this month, killing civilians and intentionally targeted places of worship. Speaking at the UNSC open debate on the protection of civilians in armed conflict, India's permanent representative to the UN ambassador Parvatneni Harish accused Islamabad of lacking the moral authority to address civilian protection, citing its track record of sponsoring terrorism and targeting civilians.
India has experienced decades of Pakistani-sponsored terrorist attacks across our borders. This has ranged from the horrific 26/11 attack on the city of Mumbai to the barbaric mass murder of innocent tourists in Pahalgam in April 2025. Pakistan has repeatedly used a civilian cover to advance the cause of terrorism. We just recently saw senior government, police and military officials pay respects at the funeral of noted terrorists targeted by Operation Sindoor. A nation that makes no distinction between terrorists and civilians has no credentials to speak about protecting civilians. There was intentional targeting of places of worship, including gurudwaras, temples and convents, as well as medical facilities. To preach at this body after such behavior is grossly hypocritical. Let us be clear. Protection of civilians should not serve as an argument for protection of UN-designated terrorists.
India also ripped through Pakistan's disinformation at the UN on the Indus Water Treaty, asserting that Islamabad violated its spirit by inflicting 3 wars and thousands of terror attacks on India.
India entered into the Indus Water Treaty 65 years ago in good faith. The preamble of the treaty describes that the treaty was concluded in a spirit of goodwill and friendship. Throughout the 6.5 decades, Pakistan has violated the spirit of the treaty by inflicting 3 wars and thousands of terror attacks on India. However, Pakistan has continued to block consistently any changes to this infrastructure and any modifications of the provisions which is permissible under the treaty. In fact, in 2012, terrorists even attacked the Tulbul navigation project in Jammu and Kashmir. These cynical acts continue to endanger safety of our projects and lives of civilians. It is against this backdrop that India has finally announced that the treaty will be in abeyance until Pakistan, which is a global epicenter of terror, credibly and irrevocably ends its support for cross-border terrorism.
India has intensified its diplomatic efforts to get Pakistan re-included in the Financial Action Task Force grey list. The move comes after the terror attack in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir on April 22nd, in which 26 innocent civilians lost their lives. India is preparing to present a detailed dossier at the FATF plenary session meeting to be held in France in June 2025. The dossier will contain evidence of Pakistan's repeated failure to stop terror financing and misuse of international funds. Pakistan has not taken effective action against UN-designated terrorist groups such as Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. Pakistan was previously on the FATF grey list from 2018 to 2022, due to which it faced difficulties in accessing international financial assistance. India argues that the decision to remove Pakistan from the grey list was premature, as it is still not fully capable of stopping terrorism financing. Being included in the grey list can have a profound impact on Pakistan's economy, as it reduces the confidence of international banks and financial institutions, making it difficult to obtain investments and loans. India plans to strongly raise this issue before the member countries of FATF. These countries include like America, United Kingdom, Japan and India. India needs the unanimous support of all member countries to get its point across. For this, India has already started bilateral discussions with many countries and is raising its concerns at the global forums. India has also recently raised allegations of Pakistan sponsoring terrorist activities at the United Nations and other international forums. This issue is also important for global counter-terrorism efforts. Moving on, India continues its global campaign against Pakistan's sponsored terrorism, with all party delegations engaged in diplomatic efforts and visiting key countries to spread the message of zero tolerance against terrorism. The all-party delegation, led by BJP's Member of Parliament Baijent Panda, reached Bahrain earlier today, where they were received by Ambassador Vinod K. Jacob at the airport. The delegation will hold key engagements highlighting India's unwavering stand against cross-border terrorism. The group, including MPs from the BJP, AIMIM and other parties, along with former diplomats like Harshvardhan Shringla, will also be visiting Kuwait, Saudi Arabia and Algeria. Another all-party delegation led by Congress MP Shashi Tharoor, including members from the BJP, Telugu Desam Party and Jharkhand Mukti Morcha Party, is visiting Guyana to spread united message against terrorism. The group will transit through New York, where they will be visiting the 9/11 memorial before heading to their first destination, Guyana. Before its departure, Shashi Tharoor said that the delegation will share India's stance on terrorism and tell the world how India has been...
Democracy and freedom are not of hatred, of killing and of terror. Jai Hind.
And the all-party parliamentary delegation led by JDU MP Sanjay Jha interacted with members of the Indian diaspora at the embassy in Japan. The delegation presented a unified front of India, clearly explaining the role of Pakistan in the gruesome terror attacks in Pahalgam on April 22nd and how India, through Operation Sindoor, destroyed the terror bases in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Further, they emphasized India's zero tolerance to terrorism and conveyed the messages that terror and talks cannot go together, blood and water cannot flow together. They reaffirmed India's unwavering commitment to combating cross-border terrorism and urged the Indian diaspora to continue to spread this message to every corner of Japan. The delegation concluded their visit by paying floral tributes to freedom fighters Ras Bihari Bose at Tama Cemetery in Tokyo on the eve of his birth anniversary today.
जो पर्पस था विजिट का, जिस पर्पस के लिए जो ऑल पार्टी डेलीगेशन यहाँ आया हुआ है, वो पर्पस हम लोगों को लगता है कि लार्जली हम लोग अपनी बात रख पाए, खास करके जब हम लोगों ने फोटोग्राफ्स दिखाए, हम लोगों ने डिटेल शेयर किया इनको, तो मुझे तो लगता है कि बिल्कुल इन लोग को ये समझ में जो यहाँ का जो गवर्नमेंट में लोग हैं कि आ रहा है कि कहीं न कहीं पाकिस्तान का के सरकार का और खास करके उसके आर्मी का इन्वॉल्वमेंट है इस सारे टेररिस्ट और जो सीरीज ऑफ जो रहा है पास्ट का ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड जो इंडिया में हुआ है, तो उसमें बिल्कुल उनको ये लगता है कि मुझे तो जरूर लगता है कि उन लोगों को ये लगा कि नहीं उसमें इन्वॉल्वमेंट है और इंडिया अपना सेल्फ डिफेंस के लिए जो एक्शन भी ले रहा है वो करेक्ट है.
It's been a very satisfying and a great visit. We were received very, very graciously. We were received with an open heart and open mind. We were very encouraged that there was spontaneous support for India's position on terrorism, that there is a complete consensus here against any form of terrorism.
Meanwhile, all-party delegation led by DMK leader and MP Kanimuri Karunanidhi met leaders, thinkers and lawmakers in Russia, conveying India's message against terrorism.
But when India responded, we responded responsibly. We made sure that no civilians were affected. The military bases were unharmed. We only targeted hubs where the terrorists were harbored and where they were being trained. And we also passed the message to the military and the government in Pakistan.
Meanwhile, the all-party delegation led by Shiv Sena MP Dr. Shrikant Eknath Shinde have successfully concluded their highly productive visit to the UAE, further strengthening India-UAE cooperation in the fight against terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. So India continues its global campaign against Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, with all-party delegations engaged in diplomatic efforts and visiting key countries to spread the message of zero tolerance against terrorism. India's global outreach against terrorism continues, and the delegations in UAE and Japan convey India's strong anti-terror message. All right, we'll go across to DD India's Akshay Dongre is joining us live. Akshay, India's global outreach continues. They concluded their visits in UAE and Japan. What do we know about the manner in which the Indian delegations are working in these countries towards garnering rally of support, in fact, global support against terrorism?
Well, what India needs to do, Abhishek, is just present the facts as far as these terror attacks are concerned, that are being orchestrated by Pakistan, that are being funded by Pakistan. The people are getting trained inside Pakistan. So clearly, you just have to go and tell the truth to the world, just show the real picture, to show the agenda of Pakistan and how it has, it has not only impacted and destabilized the region, but it is in fact a global menace that Pakistan is in fact sponsoring with the help of a few of its allies. So as far as the state policy of Pakistan is concerned, time and again they have been exposed, be it Osama bin Laden or other kind of terrorists who have been traced ultimately back to some sort of area of Pakistan, or even some high profile areas like Abbottabad where Osama bin Laden was hiding, which is barely some meters away from their military headquarters. So you don't really need to, actually go into a lot of narrative making. Just have to go and tell the facts, tell the truth, and refresh the memory of the world that how almost every country has been impacted around the world. Be it remotest corners of the world, they would have had some kind of terror attack, especially in the recent decades, and some sort of trace, can be linked to Pakistan. It can be traced in some manner to Pakistan as far as these radical attacks are concerned. So you just have to go and tell the world, and that is what India is doing.
Also, Akshay, delegation is from across the political spectrum. Different parties are part of the delegations, which says that India stands united on this matter. Diplomatic maneuvering and diplomatic messaging, I think it does matter in these kind of situations.
Well, obviously, if your country is not united, it can be exploited.
All right, Akshay, we'll come back to you. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired the 10th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog in New Delhi. So these are the visuals of informal interaction on the sidelines of the 10th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog in New Delhi. We are getting you these visuals from New Delhi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting leaders from different parties. And this year's theme is Viksit Rajya for Viksit Bharat at 2047, with the central focus on states and thereby making India a developed nation. So we are getting you these visuals from national capital, New Delhi, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is meeting leaders from different parties. PM Modi chaired the 10th Governing Council meeting of NITI Aayog in New Delhi today. And like we said, the theme is Viksit Rajya for Viksit Bharat at 2047, with the focus on states and thereby making India a developed nation. All right, we'll come back to the global outreach story that we are talking about. We had Akshay Dongre with us, and now we'll go across to Dubai now, where DD India's Vinod Kumar is joining us live from there. Vinod, the delegation has successfully concluded their visit in UAE. Tell us, how did it go and what all meetings were held?
Yes, Abhishek. The Indian all-party parliamentary delegation led by Shiv Sena MP Shrikant Shinde had concluded a high-impact visit here in the UAE, and this was the first visit by the parliamentary team anywhere in the world. This mission is aimed at galvanizing international opinion and support against terrorism in its all forms. Over the course of their stay in the UAE, the delegation engaged in several high-level diplomatic engagements. They met with Emirati leadership. They met with the Minister of Tolerance and Coexistence, Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan. And they also met with Dr. Ali Rashid Ali, chairman of the FNC Committee on Defense at the Federal National Council. And they just not only focused on diplomatic relations, but discussions focused on India's calibrated and targeted response through Operation Sindoor. And they also discussed how terrorism is a global threat posed by global threat, and how the states sponsored terrorism and disinformation is a threat to peace anywhere in the world. The delegation clearly emphasized India's message that was articulated by India's Prime Minister, that is of a definitive resolve. There can be no longer any distinction between terrorists and their sponsors. This visit also shed light on Pakistan's continuing harboring of UN designated terrorists and terror groups within their sovereign space. The all-party delegation met with the Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy here in Abu Dhabi, and they also met with the Director General Nikolai Mladenev, and they also discussed the modalities of furthering the counter-terrorism operations, intelligence sharing, and combating of radicalism in the country. Apart from these main discussions with the Emirati officials, they also met with a few of influencers. They met with an influencer, Amjad Taha, who bosses a few million followers in the social media space, and to create a proper narrative in the media space to combat the misinformation that how India's response to Pahalgam attack was targeted, measured, and it was a dignified one. And they also, of course, met with the Director General of National Media Office, again on the same strategy of how to combat misinformation in the media space. So in the concluding sessions of this visit, they also paid obeisance to Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi, the Gurudwara in Jebel Ali, and they also visited the Bab Sindhu Temple, taking our cultural diplomacy also on a high ground.
All right, Vinod, the Gulf nation was the first to host the Indian delegation post-Operation Sindoor, a gesture that reflects the strong and enduring friendship between the two countries?
Yes, UAE is the first country to receive this Indian delegation, and UAE was the first country to condemn this terror attack within few minutes of what it happened in Pahalgam. This act of early and unequivocal support demonstrates the strategic, political, and emotional alignment between these two countries, particularly on matters such as critical of national security and counterterrorism. Throughout this terror attack and India's counterterrorism operations, the leaders of these both countries were in touch with each other. President Sheikh Zayed Al Nahyan was continuously in touch with our Prime Minister, and our counterparts of the External Affairs Minister and their Foreign Affairs Minister was also in touch. And let me make a very poignant point. Day before yesterday, when they met the Minister of Coexistence and Tolerance, Sheikh Mubarak bin Nahyan, what he specifically mentioned that a terror attack on India is equivalent to a terror attack for UAE. The same was reaffirmed by Dr. Al Nuwami, the chairman of the Defense Committee of Federal National Affairs, that the security of the people of India is non-negotiable. This is told by an Arab official. The security of people of India in India is non-negotiable for a country like UAE. And he also affirmed UAE's strong commitment to this partnership. And they also discussed modalities of counterterrorism operations, intelligence sharing, and in a world where terror networks operates across border, this is timely and a most important diplomatic visit that has just concluded.
Absolutely. India is making a diplomatic outreach to key countries and to convey to them that India has a zero tolerance for terrorism. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for the information, Vinod. All right. We are slipping into a very short break. On the other side, more stories. In fact, we'll take the break later, but we'll shift the focus to international updates. Russia early Saturday attacked Ukraine's capital, Kiev, with drones and missiles, triggering fires, strewing debris throughout the city, forcing many Kiev residents to take shelter in underground subway stations. Ukrainian Air Force said that Russia fired 14 ballistic missiles on Kiev. The city's military administration said that at least 15 people were killed in the airstrikes, and the explosions led to fires in several places across the city. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Moscow is blocking a ceasefire deal to end the war and urged more international sanctions on Russia. This nighttime attack came hours after Russia and Ukraine began a major prisoner exchange that was agreed by both sides in Istanbul last week. Meanwhile, Russian forces continued its operation in several directions in Ukraine. In daily briefing, the Russian Defense Ministry said that Russian forces brought under control 6 settlements in Sumy, Kharkiv and Donetsk between May 17 to 23rd. The ministry also said that Russian air defense systems intercepted guided bombs and more than 1,000 drones of the Ukrainian forces. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Friday that the release of 390 people by each side was the first stage of a 1,000 for 1,000 exchange agreed with Russia in Istanbul.
It was the only significant result of the meeting in Turkey is that the Russians are blocking everything else. They are blocking it. For now, almost 400 people are home. These are military and civilians. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, also the next stages. The formula is 1,000 by 1,000.
Now, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that Moscow would hand Kiev a draft document outlining its conditions for a long-term peace agreement once the prisoner exchange is completed.
As soon as the exchange of prisoners of war is completed, we will be ready to hand over to the Ukrainian side the draft of such a document that the Russian side is currently finalizing.
Shifting focus now, Pope Leo XIV held his first audience with Vatican City employees and their families and expressed gratitude for their service, recalling his 2 years at the Vatican as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. Nearly 5,000 people work in the Vatican, including Curia employees and Holy See workers. On Sunday, the Pope is expected to visit Rome City Hall and take possession of the Basilica of St. John Lateran and the Basilica of St. Mary Major.
Ma piuttosto è per me l'occasione di dire
Everyone can be a builder of unity with their attitudes towards colleagues, overcoming the inevitable misunderstandings of patience and humility, putting themselves in the shoes of others, avoiding prejudices, and also with a good dose of humor, as Pope Francis taught us.
potrà mai ringraziare abbastanza.
Now, the administration of the United States President Donald Trump has taken its first concrete action to deliver sanctions relief for Syria following a surprise policy pivot earlier this month. On Friday, the U.S. Department of the Treasury announced sweeping relief to an array of individuals and entities, which it said will enable new investment and private sector activity consistent with Trump's America First strategy. The U.S. State Department, meanwhile, concurrently issued a waiver to a 2019 law, the Caesar Syria Civilian Protection Act, that would enable the foreign partners, allies and the region to further unlock Syria's potential. Trump surprised the international community when on May 13 he pledged to remove sanctions placed on Syria during the leadership of its now ousted leader, President Bashar al-Assad. Now, Australian authorities started clean-up efforts on Saturday after floods claimed 5 lives and inundated more than 10,000 properties in the country's southeast. The New South Wales Emergency Services Agency said damage assessments were underway in the state after the floods cut off towns, swept away livestock and destroyed homes this week. The state agency said that conditions had improved since Friday in the impacted areas of Australia's most populous state, but still hundreds of flood-hit residents were still in evacuation centres. Chinese Premier Li Qiang arrived in Indonesia's capital Jakarta on Saturday on a 3-day visit. The visit comes after Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto's visit to Beijing in November 2024 and is intended to confirm the commitment of the Chinese government to strengthen its comprehensive strategic partnership with Indonesia. Li is set to meet President Subianto on Sunday amid hopes that the meeting will progress cooperation between the two countries amid the ongoing tariff war between the United States and China. Now, Bangladesh's chief advisor Muhammad Yunus is set to meet with key party leaders in capital Dhaka today. The meetings will with the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and Jamaat-e-Islami aim to discuss the current political situation and elections. BNP will meet with Yunus at 7:30 p.m. local time, where they are set to discuss the present situation and elections as confirmed by the party's media cell. This comes days after Yunus reportedly voiced his desire to resign. Yunus, who leads the caretaker government as his chief advisor until elections are held, has called for rival political parties jostling for power to give him their full support. Let's now take a look at other stories making news around the world. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, while addressing the nation, mourned the passing of 81-year-old French-Brazilian photographer Sebastião Salgado. While visitors gather at a memorial photo exhibition for the photographer, famous for his work depicting wildlife, landscapes and people. A movie exhibition for the acclaimed martial arts film Twilight of the Warriors is open to the public at Kowloon Walled City, Hong Kong from Saturday. To recreate daily life, the exhibition is crafted with designs and elements of traditional crafts. A series of events under Semicon Southeast Asia 2025 held in Singapore from May 20th through 22nd showcased Vietnam's growing high-tech sector. The Vietnam Investment Forum also showcased the country's growing technology sector, strengthening Vietnam's reputation as an emerging center for innovation and advanced technology. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. India's Trade Minister Piyush Goyal meets EU Trade Commissioner to review India-EU FTA progress. Monsoon arrives in India, earliest onset over Indian mainland since 2009, hits Kerala 8 days early. And the Cannes Film Festival draws to a close. We get you all the latest updates from there.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar shared his remarks on how India and Germany can upgrade their ties as the two countries mark 25 years of their strategic partnership. Dr. Jaishankar, who is visiting Germany, made these remarks during an interaction at German Council on Foreign Relations and acknowledged German support to India after Pahalgam terrorist attack.
When it comes to terrorism, I think today, there's virtually no country which would say, I approve of what is done. Or no country which would say, I don't condemn what was done. And if I were to say, I have the right to defend myself, my people. I have the right to secure my country. I think much of the world would agree with me. And I'm happy to say that Germany does. We are very encouraged both by the very early condemnation of the terrorist attack, as well as the very clear message which we got on the 7th of May and again today from Minister Wadeful, that Germany recognizes India's right to defend itself against terrorism.
The EAM offers suggestions on collaboration in several areas to take the ties ahead, listing down the challenges which the modern world has brought forth, such as the chips war, climate change, poverty, damage done by the COVID pandemic, amongst others. External Affairs Minister expressed confidence in the India-Germany ties to face them. Sharing his engagements in Germany, he noted that the time is right to think about the next 25 years and how we can fully realize the potential of India-Germany ties. He expressed optimism for trade ties to grow between the two countries, and an FTA with the EU would help in that regard.
India and Germany are part of a group called G4, which has been trying to press for a much more contemporary United Nations. So there is a global agenda. Should be an effort for deeper conversations. We need to build up a stronger bilateral collaboration. And much of that, in my view, can be achieved or can be furthered by an expeditious conclusion of an India-European free trade agreement. A free trade agreement in today's context, particularly because for the European Union, in many ways it has been a very key pillar of its foreign policy engagements. To conclude an FTA agreement has a significance beyond trade, beyond investment, beyond economics.
India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal met European Commissioner for Trade Maroš Šefčovič to discuss the free trade agreement between India and the European Union. Expressing his happiness to meet Minister Goyal, EU official Maroš Šefčovič in a post on X said, and I quote him here, "We continue to make progress. Let's maintain the momentum with hard work, clear focus, and I look forward to our next meeting soon," unquote. Responding to Maroš's tweet, Minister Goyal said, and I quote him, "Thank you for the warm welcome, my friend. We remain committed to the shared prosperity of India and the EU. Let us keep this pace going," unquote. India and the European Union have accelerated free trade agreement talks, with both sides aiming to wrap up a deal by the end of 2025. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Man Ki Baat program on All India Radio on Sunday at 11 a.m. It will be the 122nd episode of the monthly radio program. The program will be broadcast across the entire AIR and Doordarshan network, the AIR news website and the News On Air mobile application. And the southwest monsoon has officially arrived in Kerala, marking its onset today, the 24th of May 2025. That's 8 days earlier than the usual date of June 1st. This year's early arrival makes it the earliest monsoon onset over Kerala since 2009, when it began on May 23rd. And if you look further back, the earliest onset on record since 1975 was in 1990, when the monsoon arrived as early as May 19th, a full 13 days ahead of the normal schedule. With the monsoon setting in early, eyes are now on its progress across the country. The India Met Department has predicted extremely heavy rainfall likely to occur at isolated places over Konkan and Goa, central Maharashtra, coastal Karnataka and south interior Karnataka and Kerala today. Meanwhile, extremely heavy rainfall is expected today into northern Kerala districts of Kannur and Kasaragod, with the IMD declaring red alert in these districts. IMD has also put 5 northern districts from Malappuram to Kasaragod on red alert on Sunday. All right, we'll go across live to Ernakulam. DD India's Suneet Sukumaran is joining us from there. Suneet, monsoon has arrived too early in Kerala. Earliest onset since 2009. An early onset generally brings positive sentiment across the sectors. And is it going to have good impact on agriculture especially?
Hoping that this will be a healthy monsoon this year, because after 2009, this is the first time the monsoon onsets over Kerala. So since yesterday night onwards, several parts of the region have been witnessing heavy to heavy rainfall. And today, officially, IMD has announced the early arrival of monsoon. Usually, it arrives on June 1st week, but this time it's early due to, this is what the IMD has predicted. And the 2 districts, especially the northern region, Kasaragod and Kannur, have been issued with a red alert, and heavy raining has been reported from these regions, and several damages also have been reported from that area. And but no casualties yet. It disrupted the normal life of the people, causing water lodging and things uprooting and cutting off power supplies and all. As you said, like definitely it will boost the agriculture, and it will bring, like according to the prediction, this will be a healthy monsoon.
Also, Suneet, does this also mean that the monsoon will arrive early in the other parts of India too? And also tell us what is the forecast for the next few days there?
For the next few days, the IMD has predicted heavy to heavy rainfall may occur in several parts of the region, especially in Wayanad, Idukki. These are the 2 hilly regions in Kerala. So the government has already warned the people to avoid unnecessary traveling to the hill areas, especially Wayanad and the Idukki district, and also advised, issued a fresh warning to the fishermen to not venture into the sea for the next few days because of the heavy winds that is reporting. So, all the main tourist destinations has already been closed, and all the water sports and water activities has also been stopped. And through all these, the government has monitoring all the situations and taking necessary steps to avoid any kind of, difficulty.
All right, Suneet, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Ernakulam, Kerala. The conditions are likely to be more favorable for advancement of monsoon in most parts of the northeast India during the next 2 days. India Met Department has issued yellow alert in various districts of Assam. As per the latest report, none of the rivers are flowing above danger level in Assam, and none of the population or animals have been affected. In response to the flood-related risk, the Assam administration has activated its emergency response systems. Authorities focused on identifying vulnerable zones and ensuring that preventive measures are in place to mitigate the impacts of the rainfall. All right, DD India Subina Roy joins us live from Dibrugarh in Assam for more updates. Subina, what's the situation like there in Assam? What all districts are on high alert? Also, tell us about the advisories that have been issued by the state government.
Yes, Abhishek, the advancement of monsoon is very likely over the northeast for the next few days, as monsoon has already arrived in Kerala. And so the IMD has issued yellow alert for many of the districts of Assam, like in North Assam for the districts of Sonitpur, Udalgiri, the IMD has issued yellow alert. Then for east of Assam, Soraideo, Tinsukia, Dibrugarh, Sibsagar districts have been issued yellow alert. And for the south of Assam, like Kachar, Sribhumi, then Hailakandi, the Dima Hasao, Karbi and Long, these are the areas which have been issued yellow alert. And for the west of Assam, Kamrup district and Kokrajhar district have been issued yellow alerts. Abhishek, for the next few days, heavy to heavy rainfalls are probably going to occur in many parts of other northeastern states as well, like in Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh. These are the Mizoram, these are the Tripura, these are the states which are also going to experience heavy to very heavy rainfalls. But as per the flood report says, none of the rivers as of now in Assam are flowing above danger level. None of the population or animals have been affected. However, the state administration has taken a very active 24/7, emergency approach in any kind of exigencies. So the ministers are frequently visiting the flood areas where there is any embankment breach or any river is overflowing. The ministers are visiting and fixing those areas. Geotube bags have been fixed where there is a river breach. Apart from that, the SDRF has been allocated a budget of more than 1,000 crore this time, for proper allocation of flood relief measures. Apart from that, the Indian Army, SDRF, NDRF, the state civil defense mechanism, and also the district authorities are working in a multi-pronged approach, coordination, very good coordination level, where they are working together for any kind of flood-related risk.
All right, Subina, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for getting us the latest from Dibrugarh, Assam. Now, updates from the Cannes Film Festival. 10 years after Monsoon, Neeraj Ghewan returns at the competition section at Cannes Film Festival with Homebound, a drama following two childhood friends. Neeraj Ghewan talks exclusively to DD India about overwhelming response Homebound getting at Cannes.
I'm at Cannes Film Festival and right now I'm very thrilled to be speaking to one of the most compelling voices of Indian cinema right now. We have Neeraj Ghewan with us. It was great. You got the much needed, well-deserved, overwhelming standing ovation at the screening of Homebound. Tell us about that.
It meant so much, you're sitting there with your entire crew finally watching the film. I've seen the film 100 times, but meko laga ab kyun ro rahe ho? But suddenly just sitting there, and all people from all across the world, and you are representing India at that stage, I just cried out, and so many people were crying. It was, overwhelming is also a small word to say.
Okay. This is not your first time at Cannes, and you have made history at Cannes earlier also with the film like Monsoon. So tell me, what's so special about Homebound?
This kind of story relates with everyone. So I think that is what was special for them.
How was working with this team, which come very different, contrasting journeys both of you have, Karan Johar and Neeraj?
I feel that I was blessed to have these people around. I'm just saying, for Karan Johar, the biggest producer in India and with the biggest studio, to back this film is something that nobody is talking about. It's a very big thing for me.
You are representing Indian cinema here. So how symbolic is it, and how Indian cinema is really creating waves at Cannes Film Festival or any other festival around the world?
Absolutely. I think also we have to acknowledge the big thing that happened last year was Payal Kapadia's film, which actually broke the jinx that we will never get selected in the main competition. She made it to the main competition, also won the top prize. She just broke the ceiling for all of us, and she has paved the way. So even this time when I came back, it felt like a homecoming for me, because I've come back after 10 years to the same place where it all started for me.
That is Mr. Neeraj Ghewan here at Cannes, making India proud with amazing film called Homebound, which is taking Indian cinema around the world. With camera person Sumit, this is Jaya Sinha reporting for DD India from Cannes.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news today. The Indian Coast Guard, in coordination with the Haldia Dock Complex, conducted a marine pollution response seminar and workshop on May 21st and to 22nd. The event aimed to enhance awareness and foster synergy among stakeholders in developing effective response mechanisms to manage oil spill incidents along the West Bengal coast. The Border Security Force neutralized a Pakistani intruder who was attempting to cross into Indian territory on Friday. The incident occurred in the Banaskantha district of Gujarat near the India-Pakistan international border. According to the BSF, the alert troops spotted a suspicious individual advancing towards the border fence after illegally crossing the international border. In Tamil Nadu, people gathered at the Kalanadhiri village near Melur to celebrate centuries-old fishing festival. According to the rituals, the fish caught by the villagers are offered to the deity for better harvest and health. The event saw the participation of 750 bulls and 300 tamers from various districts. Alright, sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. The Board of Control for Cricket in India on Saturday announced India's test squad for England tour. The Ajit Agarkar-led committee named Shubman Gill as new test captain, while wicketkeeper batter Rishabh Pant has been announced his deputy. Gill succeeds recently retired Rohit Sharma. Karun Nair, who scored a triple ton against England in his debut series in 2016, makes a comeback to the national squad after almost 8 years. Besides Karun, Doordarshan has also been rewarded for his performance in the Indian Premier League. Notably, Mohammad Shami, Sarfaraz Khan, Devdutt Padikkal and Harshit Rana are not part of the 18-man squad who played the Border Gavaskar Trophy in Australia. All right, DD India's Narayan Singh has more information on this. He is joining us live from the newsroom. Narayan, Shubman Gill named captain, Pant his deputy, and no Mohammad Shami, Harshit Rana and Sarfaraz too. How do you see the entire 18-member squad?
Abhishek, we can say that's a new era in the Indian cricket team, which was in transition phase, has started a new journey, and they will play a 5-match test series against England. And we can say that it's a tough journey for the Shubman Gill too, because in the first series he will be against England side, that is England, and we know that playing in the condition is always a tough task, but the selector showed belief in him. That recently we saw what kind of cricket he played for the Gujarat Titans, where he is the captain of the team, and under the even Ashish Nehra, who is the coach of the Gujarat Titans, say that he has a potential to lead any side. So in that sense, we can say that it was destined to happen, because our stalwarts Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli already retired from the test cricket. So we can say that's big shoes to fill for the Shubman Gill, because captaining the Indian team, especially in the red ball format in itself, is a big achievement. And now he has to create a path for himself, because we know that here a red ball cricket is totally different from the white ball cricket. And in the past also we saw that when Virat Kohli took the captaincy in 2014 from MS Dhoni. At that time, we saw that was a smooth transition. And this time around, he became captain in the mid of a series in the Australia. But he is getting a fresh induction here. So, but I think captain needs to earn the faith of his team. He should have an acceptance in all the members of the team. How he handles all these things, especially Shubman Gill, remains to be seen. And Mohammad Shami, as you mentioned, that I think he's one of the best bowler in the red ball cricket. But the way Ajit Agarkar said that, his physio said that still he is not up to that level of fitness. But I think it is an assumption that you can say that this will happen, this will not. So we can rely on the assumption. But I think Mohammad Shami was the need of the hour for India in England.
Absolutely, but yes, Arshdeep has got the opportunity. There are 5 pacers in the squad, but Narayan, big opportunity for Sai Sudarshan and like mentioned Arshdeep, and recall for Karun Nair. He's coming back after 8 years, and Shardul Thakur too is also coming back into the squad after a long time.
Yeah, they are coming after a long time, after a 7-year. Last time he played in 2017 against Australia. Karun Nair and Shardul Thakur is also getting an opportunity. But I think here, I think the team India is lacking. We can say that here an experience. We have all the new members. Jasprit Bumrah is there, Ravin Jadeja is there. But the kind of, we can say that experience was with Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, the big names. R. Ashwin is also not there. And you talked about Karun Nair is playing after the 7 years. Shardul Thakur is also a new team is in transition, and Sai Sudarshan is also playing for the first time. So it remains to be seen where he plays, whether he will open or will play at the number 3 or the number 4. So in that sense, I think we are missing the Shreyash Iyer, who could have been a dominant force at the number 4 for the Indian team. And recently we saw what kind of clean hitting he is doing for the Punjab Kings in the IPL. And apart from that, his record in the T20 and the Champions Trophy. So I think he was the need of the hour for the team India, because we are playing in England, and remember that we lost previous 2 series, one against the New Zealand at home, and first time India lost the 3-match series against the visiting side in India, and after that we lost the Border Gavaskar Trophy. So it was a very important and the crucial time for the Indian cricket, considering the fact that it is a new cycle of the WTC World Test Championship, and we are playing in England. So in that sense, I think we should have some experienced players in the team to guide the young team there. But overall, the selectors had shown a belief in our team. I think hopefully they will definitely start this new era on a positive note in England.
Absolutely, Narayan, beginning of a new era post Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in Test cricket. Thank you, Narayan. Thanks for your inputs. In soccer, Arsenal is set to clash with Barcelona in much-awaited final of the Women's Champions League. This will be Barcelona's 6th appearance in the final in 7 years and a record-tying 5th consecutive year. A victory on Saturday would make Barcelona the 2nd club after Lyon to lift the trophy for 3 consecutive years. Meanwhile, Arsenal's journey to the final came after a 15-year wait since their 2006-07 UEFA Women's Cup triumph.
We respect Barcelona as a team. They're a really, really good football team. So we're very humble for the occasion, but also we are here to win. And we have to find ways to win. And I am convinced that the game will shift in momentum.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.